The story of a disease older than history. Olivia, her father, and the long journey of cancer. Olivia never imagined that a single word could silence an entire home. It was early morning when her father, David, sat at the kitchen table holding a folded medical report with trembling fingers. His eyes avoided hers, and his voice cracked as he whispered, "Olivia, the doctor thinks it may be cancer." The word came out slowly, as if saying it too loudly might make it more real. Though it was only one word, it fell like a stone into her heart. She stood frozen for a moment, feeling her world shift into something unfamiliar and frightening. But she had no idea that the story she had just stepped into didn't begin with her father, or even with modern medicine. It began thousands of years ago. That night, unable to sleep, she opened her laptop and typed cancer origins. What she found surprised her. The word cancer itself was thousands of years old. The Greek physician Hippocrates had seen tumors with swollen veins spreading from them like the legs of a crab. He called these growths carcinos, which meant crab. Later, the Roman doctor Galen translated the word into Latin as cancer, which also meant crab. The name wasn't just poetic, reflected how the disease grips tissue the way a crab clamps its claws. She learned that cancer was not a modern invention of chemicals and pollution. Ancient Egyptian manuscripts from 1600 BC described breast tumors. Archaeologists had found signs of bone cancers in skeletons thousands of years old. Humans had battled this disease since the dawn of civilization. Somehow, this knowledge comforted her. She felt she had entered an ancient story, fearful but full of wisdom. Still, she could not answer the question echoing inside her. Why him? Why her father? She needed to understand what caused cancer, how it begins, why it grows, and what her father could have done to end up in its grip. She began with genetics. Popular belief said cancer runs in families, but the truth was different. Only about 5 to 10% of cancers are caused by inherited genetic mutations. Some families carry BRCA mutations that raise the risk of breast and ovarian cancers. Others inherit rare DNA repair problems. But David's family had no such history. His parents, grandparents, and siblings had lived long lives without cancer. That meant the cause likely wasn't rooted in the family tree. The more she read, the clearer it became that most cancers arise from life itself, from years of small damages accumulating in cells. Her father's lifestyle came into focus. He had smoked for more than 20 years, usually hiding behind the shed so his children wouldn't see. He loved oily food, crispy samosas, fried pakoras, sugary tea. He worked long hours and rarely exercised. These things had never seemed dangerous, just ordinary. But she learned that smoking alone caused more cancer deaths than any other factor in the world. Deep-fried foods and processed meats increased inflammation. Sugar and obesity weakened the immune system. Lack of exercise slowed metabolism and encouraged chronic disease. Each habit was like a drop of water falling onto stone, harmless at first, but powerful over time. She also thought about her father's other health conditions. His mild diabetes, which he often brushed off as nothing serious, actually increased the risk of several cancers. Chronic infections, such as hepatitis B or C, she discovered, could cause liver cancer. HPV infections caused cervical cancer. Untreated inflammation anywhere in the body increased risk. Everything was connected, and she realized that cancer was not caused by a single event, but by a long chain of subtle, slow-moving changes. Age added another piece to the puzzle. Her father was 58, an age when the risk of cancer rises dramatically. As humans grow older, their cells divide billions of times, making small mistakes that accumulate like typos in a long manuscript. By the time someone reaches their 50s or 60s, it is almost expected that some cells will have damaged DNA. Gender mattered to men. Naturally carried higher risks for many cancers due to hormones, lifestyle habits, and occupational exposures, while women had their own unique vulnerabilities, such as breast and cervical cancers. Then there was geography. Olivia looked at global maps and was shocked at how cancer patterns varied by region. In Japan, stomach cancer had long been common because of traditional salted foods. In sub-Saharan Africa, liver cancer was prevalent due to hepatitis. In the United States and Europe, breast, lung, prostate, and colorectal cancers dominated, linked to processed foods, sedentary lifestyles, and alcohol. In South Asia, pollution, tobacco chewing, and smoke from wood-burning stoves made lung and oral cancers widespread. Cancer wasn't the same everywhere. It reflected how people lived, ate, worked, and accessed healthcare. Her father's occupation suddenly made sense. David had driven trucks for years, breathing diesel fumes and dust from old highways. He spent hours behind the wheel, inhaling pollutants from vehicles. Sometimes he worked near chemical warehouses or transported materials from factories. She learned that certain jobs carry higher risks. Miners breathing dust and radon, construction workers exposed to asbestos, farmers handling pesticides, factory workers inhaling dyes or solvents, drivers sitting in polluted traffic for hours. The job that fed his family had also quietly harmed him. One night, she found a global cancer report published by the World Health Organization. The numbers shocked her. Nearly 20 million new cases every year, 10 million deaths. Some countries had more cases but better survival because they detected cancers earlier and had access to advanced treatments. Other regions diagnosed people too late and treatment options were limited. She felt anger at the unfairness, but also a strange sense of unity. Cancer was not just her family's enemy, but the world's. When David's diagnosis was confirmed, Olivia accompanied him to the hospital. The corridors seemed longer than usual, filled with people from every background: children with frightened eyes, elderly patients walking slowly, families whispering prayers. She realized that hospitals held stories of pain, but also hope. She learned about treatments not from books, but from watching doctors explain options to her father. Surgery was the first line of defense when tumors were localized. Chemotherapy could attack fast-growing cancer cells. Radiotherapy targeted tumors with beams of energy. Targeted therapies were like precision weapons, shutting down specific mutations that fueled cancer growth. Immunotherapy amazed her. It used the body's own immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells. CAR-T cell therapy felt like science fiction. Doctors re-engineered a patient's immune cells and sent them back into the body like trained soldiers. These treatments were expensive and complicated, but they represented human brilliance, compassion, and centuries of learning since Hippocrates first named the disease. Cancer research, she discovered, was advancing faster than ever. Scientists were developing vaccines for certain cancers. Artificial intelligence was helping detect tumors earlier than human eyes could. Blood tests were being created to find cancer before symptoms even appeared. This was the first time in human history that cancer felt not just treatable, but beatable. Back at home, prevention became a family mission. They didn't wait for doctors to tell them what to do, they changed their lives willingly. David quit smoking completely. Their meals became lighter. More vegetables, more fruits, less oil, less sugar. They switched from white rice to whole grains. Olivia started walking with her father every evening, even when the nights were cold. Her mother scheduled regular breast screenings. Her younger sisters received HPV vaccinations. The entire family learned about early warning signs of different cancers. Slowly, hope began replacing fear. Her father's treatments were difficult: fatigue, nausea, weakness, but he faced them bravely. Olivia stayed by his side, reading, talking, or simply holding his hand. Sometimes he slept while she watched the monitors blinking gently above him, each light reminding her of how fragile and precious life was. What surprised her most was how much knowledge had changed her feelings. Cancer was still frightening, but it no longer felt like a mysterious, unstoppable force. She understood its roots, its habits, its weaknesses. She understood how history, genetics, lifestyle, region, age, and medicine all shaped its story. She understood that the future held tools her ancestors could never have imagined. In the end, Olivia realized something powerful. Cancer had traveled through history with humanity, named by Greeks, feared by Romans, misunderstood by medieval healers, targeted by modern science, and challenged by the newest revolutions in medicine. But this ancient enemy was losing ground. As she sat beside her father one evening, listening to him breathe steadily after a long treatment session, she squeezed his hand gently and whispered a promise to herself. This disease does not decide our ending. We do. And in that quiet moment, she felt something change, not the past, but the future.